Hi there, guys. Finally, getting around to reviewing Primer. I just finished watching it, and I thought it was fantastic. Jesse, I'm really glad you suggested this. I probably never would have heard of it otherwise, but I'm really glad that I got to see this. This was an absolutely fantastic film. I loved it so much. I don't really want to spoil this movie. I know that we generally tend not to care whether or not we spoil it because we're just essentially talking between the three of us, but I'd really like other people to go and see this film, to pick up a copy of it, so I don't really want to spoil it too much. But basically I heard it described as the lowest budget time travel movie ever made, and it definitely is, but I'd say it's probably the best time travel movie that I've ever seen. It kind of takes a different route from a normal time travel movie. A normal time travel movie would be like, these characters could go back in time, they go to the past, and then they change things, and this is blah de blah de blah. But this movie, while that does happen, is focused a lot more on the technical aspect of time travel, and kind of spends the first kind of half of the movie just developing a reasonable, believable method of time travel. Like, the science in this seems like a lot more like it could happen than most sci-fi films do. You can kind of believe this machine would take you back in time, and the fact that it's just a box, like the small one is just a metal box, and then the big one is just this crappy taped together kind of thing, makes it seem really believable for some reason. Also, there's the fact that you can only travel back in time to the point where you've turned the box on, so the box goes on and you can travel to that point, which makes a lot more sense than making a time machine that can then take you back to see the dinosaurs and stuff like that. So this movie sort of set up a method of time travel that I could believe could exist. Like, watching this I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And the fact that they're not like the greatest scientists in the world, they're not the most professional people in the world, makes it really endearing. And I really loved the two main characters in this. Both of them were fantastic, Abe and Aaron. I had so much to talk about, but now I can't remember a thing. It's annoying. The movie looks really nice as well. It's a really well shot film. It's just the colours are really pretty, and for such a low budget film, it looks fantastic. It's probably one of the best low budget films that I've seen, just from a visual aspect. It was also shot very strangely. I was looking at the trivia for IMDb, and it's shot on a ratio of 2:1, which I don't know if you guys know much about this, but when you're making a film, obviously you shoot a lot more than you end up using, just through multiple takes and deleted scenes and coverage from different cameras and stuff. So usually it's very, very unlikely that you'll end up shooting a ratio less than 10:1. Like, you'll end up, at the end of the process, you'll have 10 times more film, at least 10 times more film than you get in the final film, if that makes any sense. But this is filmed at a ratio of 2:1, which is so strange because it seems like such a big movie, but it's very tightly shot. The only thing that kind of let the movie down for me was the ending. The ending is very confusing. Just when, again, I don't really want to give too much away from this, but it just doesn't seem to explain much, and what it does explain isn't substantial enough, if that makes any sense. And it just kind of leaves you a little bit confused. But a brief sort of glance around IMDb sort of cleared up most of it for me. That guy, the only thing that the movie doesn't explain, and there is no explanation for this at all, is how that other guy knows the time machine exists. And the reason for this is the story is supposed to be told from Abe's perspective. Abe's perspective, and he doesn't know how the time machine gets discovered, so we don't know, which I think is quite clever. There are subtle hints throughout the film towards the ending, like when Aaron's ear starts to bleed. It's kind of a hint towards the end of the film, but I think it's one that you're going to have to watch more than once to kind of properly understand it all, if you know what I mean. But that being said, it was a fantastic film. I really loved it, and I only got this from LoveFilm, but I'm definitely going to pick up the DVD and own it for myself forever, because it's wonderful. If you're watching this review, go out and get Primer, because it's brilliant. I love it. Jesse, I'm looking forward to seeing your review tomorrow. Goodbye.